Hi, guys. It's me, yours truly, Beverly Sherelle Johnson, lifestyle health coach and consultant, registered nurse for over 33 years, known as the Uncommon Flexitarian and the creator of Eat What. Eat What is my weekly program that gives you resourceful information and education as to the many USDA and FDA food safety and health concerns. Now, I just don't wish to alarm you, but I also wish to give you solutions, concrete solutions to build your immunity, to build your overall health so that you can look good, feel good, and have a more positive outlook on life. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Eat What. Now, here at Eat What, we ask every member to invite others into our community. And you never have to be concerned about missing a single episode. For when you go into our private Facebook group, all you have to do is click on the tab and click on the members tab and just see everything that we've ever done, every article, every video, every point, everything that we've done in Eat What since its inception. Now, this is information that you are welcome to share. And be sure that you let others know that this is a community of all food fairs. It does not matter if you are one who eats it all, omnivorous. It does not matter if you're vegan, vegetarian. It does not matter. It does not matter. We are here just to discuss healthy heart healthy options for our entire body, things that will benefit us not only spiritually but mentally and physically. All right? So, invite others to the community, share and like, okay? All righty then. Well, this month we are building upon last month's discussion of eating for our spiritual, mental, and physical health. This month, being the month of February, we are discussing heart health. Now, there's a lot that we could talk about regarding heart health, but instead of just saying, well, these foods are good for the heart and this food is not good for the heart, I decided to go down a different path and educate more on some of the conditions that we see that affect our heart health. Now, today's edition is going to be discussing atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation, which has gotten a lot more attention in the last few years, and perhaps it's because it's being diagnosed better. Atrial fibrillation, in relation to our what we eat, our food, our mood, our mental health, our emotions, and our activities, is being discussed today. Now, each week, we're going to discuss a different condition of our heart that affects us and how food, our moods, and how our activities can help or hurt our heart health. So, that is our focus today. So, with that being said, let's dive right on in to heart health, food, mood, and activities. And in this first week, we are discussing atrial fibrillation. All righty then. One thing I do want to say, I always want everyone who's listened to this program, do not try anything unless you are also guided to do the same. Do the same by your healthcare team. Stay connected with your healthcare team. Stay connected with your healthcare team. That could be your medical doctor, your doctor of osteopathy, your nurse practitioner, your herbalist, all those who are concerned about your health. You stay connected with them. We are here as to supplement anything that they are saying, but never try anything new. Never try anything new without first discussing it with your healthcare team. They're there to help you, they're there to guide you. And you need that support as well. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know what you wish to try. Let them know what you heard here and better undergird your own health. Okay? All righty then. So, heart health, food, mood, and activities, atrial fibrillation. Now, what is atrial fibrillation? Atrial fibrillation, as I had stated earlier, has been diagnosed more accurately. Therefore, we're seeing more and more cases of it. Now, think of the heart. Think of the heart. The heart is composed of chambers. The upper chambers are the atria. The lower chambers are the ventricles. Both need to be working optimally so that you get that contraction, the contraction that you need in the heart so that your blood can flow to your lungs and to the rest of your body. Okay. So the top chambers of the heart are the atria. The lower chambers are the ventricles. And when your heart beats, it's the contraction of the atria first and then the ventricles. Boom, boom. And it's a rhythmic contraction. Okay. It's a rhythmic contraction. Okay. Whereas your heart will first contracts in the upper parts of your of the chambers, the atria, and then the lower part, the ventricles. Now, when you have atrial fibrillation, what is happening is that the atria, the top chambers of the heart, are contracting too slowly, too quickly, or too irregularly. And this causes problems for the ventricles because now everything is out of kilter. It's off rhythm. And the heart needs to have a regular rhythm in order to get the ventricles to pump the blood out of it into the rest of your body by way of the lungs and getting all the nutrients that the rest of your body needs. Now, when the atria are in fibrillation, this is not able to happen because now the ventricles don't know when to contract. And like I said, when atrial fibrillation is going on, there are other diseases, there are other conditions that can stunt our health, that can delay our growth in terms of growth, if particularly for cellular growth. And even if a younger person is experiencing this and they're still growing, it stunts our growth, and it definitely does not help us have a better quality of life. So we definitely want to know what things we can do that can help modify or not, or if it is something that we cannot modify, or how we can best control our mood, our food, and our activities so that we do not create a situation where atrial fibrillation may occur, or that if we have atrial fibrillation, we can do all that we can naturally and working with our healthcare team to decrease the incidence of negative effects. Now, what are the negative effects of atrial fibrillation? Well, some of them are, like I said, some of the diseases that we see in our bodies because the nutrients are not able to get out from the ventricles. The blood, the nutrients are not able to get out into the bloodstream to nourish the rest of our body with oxygen and other nutrients that are in the blood. Therefore, we are at a deficit there. Some other problems are stroke. There is a significant chance of heart disease and stroke that is associated with atrial fibrillation. And it's all because things are out of rhythm. Things are out of rhythm. So the main focus and the main goal when your healthcare team is cautioning you about what to do in food, mood, and activities, and we're doing the same thing, the undergirded here, but we're cautioning is that we're helping the heart to get back on track so that we have the atria contracting and the ventricles contracting in more rhythmic manner as it normally should, so that our body can receive health. Okay. All righty then. All right. So there are foods that are contraindicated, that are not helpful with if atrial fibrillation. And there's certain moods and certain activities that we can clue ourselves in when we're talking about atrial fibrillation. So we're going to go over those briefly, really quick here. Again, talk with your healthcare team. Talk with your healthcare team if you think that you have any signs and symptoms of atrial fibrillation. Now, some of these signs and symptoms include a heartbeat that is really going fast, Okay, the heartbeat, a normal heartbeat between 60 and 100 beats 60 and 100 beats per minute. Okay, that's fine. But when you're in atrial fibrillation, you're going way, way, way above that. Way, way, way above that. 170, 200, and it feels like your chest, your heart is hurting, and you might feel like you have chest pain. Something, your heart sometimes is, you feel like it's jumping out of your chest. There's a lot of symptoms that can be associated with atrial fibrillation, and if you have experienced anything that is unusual that you have not experienced before with your heart, get in touch with your healthcare team to make sure that it's that if you think it's nothing, then it is nothing, but make sure that they're confirming that. But if it's something like atrial fibrillation, you really need to get on top of that, and you really need to do what you can to make sure that your heart is functioning normally and optimally as it should. All right. So some of the foods, and we know about some of the foods that affect our heart health, and some of the incidences that can aggravate underlying conditions if you already have atrial fibrillation. Now, of course, the number one thing that we always talk about is sodium. Salt consumption can really, we need so very little salt. It's so very little sodium in our diets on a daily basis. But because of processed foods, and because of things that we're doing, and not really planning our meals correctly, a lot of times we take in a lot more sodium than what we ever need to. And this does not help us, and does not help those who have conditions of atrial fibrillation. All right, it does not help. Now, the normal amount per day, 2,300 milligrams, is all that we really need. Of course, that is a very generous number. You should try to do slightly less if you can. But when you think about the foods, and particularly your packaged foods that already have sodium in them, they already have sodium in them. And even though they are packaged, even though they are healthy foods, you really need to watch the sodium content and the content of sodium per serving. Per serving. If you only need 2,300 a day, and your serving is already in the thousands, or your servings are already in the large hundreds, then you really need to reevaluate what you are doing in terms of your heart health. Sodium is a big culprit, and it's not that salt is bad. Salt is not bad. We need salt in our systems. That's when we do in excess of what our body needs. That's when we run into trouble. That's when we have a problem. So remember, salt, sodium, you only need 2,300 milligrams. Only need 2,300 milligrams, which would greatly curtail a lot of what we're eating. If you really look at it, it would greatly curtail a lot of what we are eating. And it would almost force us to make a better plan, to plan our meals better, to eat more natural fruits and vegetables, not those in cans, but more natural and fresh fruits and vegetables, so that our sodium incidences can be lower. Overall, it will help us. It will definitely help our hearts. All right. So moving on to the next item. Moving on to the next item, we're looking at alcohol. Now, alcohol, okay, now a lot of people get really sensitive when you talk about alcohol, but alcohol is something that can hurt our heart health. Okay, it can in excess. Okay, and you really need to get with your healthcare team to find out what is a great level for you. I particularly myself, and this is just my personal choice, I abstain, but there are others who wish to drink socially, who wish to drink and like I said, socially, or along with a meal. And when you desire to do so, get with your healthcare team and find out what you can do, how you should do, so that alcohol does not become a deterrent to your heart health. All right. So it takes a bit of a mindset change, of course, when you're talking about heart health. And there are things that you are culturally accustomed to doing. Celebrations. We have upcoming sports events such as the Super Bowl and other and the Olympics and things such as that, where you would desire perhaps, or in celebration or cheering your team on, or in gathering and socializing with friends, alcohol is a part of what goes on. It is a personal choice, and whether you choose to abstain or to indulge, know what you're doing, in particularly if you care to indulge, and know what you're doing, how you are affecting your health. All righty. Alcohol in moderate amounts. There's nothing wrong with alcohol in moderate amounts, it as long as you're not going into excess. And excess is determined by a variety of factors, that and it should be based upon the health that you are in right now. So sodium, alcohol, definitely, definitely items that you really need to discuss with your healthcare team as to what you can do if you have atrial fibrillation, or to prevent any incidences, in case you might be on the borderline, if you're noticing some things. Atrial fibrillation is what we're discussing today. Okay, alcohol. Now, gluten. Gluten is another item. It's found in wheat products. And if you are a person who is able to eat gluten, you need to watch, again, in moderation, the amount of gluten you're bringing into your body. Now remember, we are talking about food, mood, and activities, building upon what we said last month, when we're talking about eating for our spiritual, mental, and physical health. Now, just mentioning that just really briefly, remember, when we're talking about gluten is found in wheat products. Of course, it's found in wheat products, and it is also associated with some of our moods, some of the moods that we find ourselves in. So when you're eating for your spiritual, mental, and physical health, we also have to be concerned about what foods we're intaking, and what are we feeding our bodies, or are we feeding our emotions. All right. And there is an article, if you did not get a chance to see it last week, there is an article and a short worksheet slash quiz that can help guide you in this. All right. Just can help guide you in this. All righty. And it has, according to the person who wrote that article, it has a direct connection between alcohol and sodium, salty foods, and even the bread products, the gluten products. All righty. So if you didn't catch that last week, be sure to read up on it this week. Gluten is another incident that can affect our heart health, and it's not very helpful to having the excess of gluten in our diets. All righty. Processed foods. Now, this is another culprit, going along with the salt and sodium. Processed foods have a lot of extra added chemicals and ingredients that are not good for our heart health. And if you already have a condition such as atrial fibrillation, you're not helping. You're not helping it at all. Processed foods. We hear a lot about processed foods. And of course, processed foods have come about as we require faster and faster ways to prepare our foods, of shipping concerns. I understand all of that, but there has to be a line when it comes to your heart health. Again, this goes back to eating for your spiritual, mental, and physical health, but it also goes back to your planning of your meals. When you properly plan to succeed, you eliminate the incidences, or severely decrease the incidences of failure. You want to plan your meals, incorporating more time, fresh fruits and vegetables into your food fares on a daily basis can help lower some of these negative heart incidences. And we discussed sodium, alcohol, gluten, and now processed foods. Again, read the labels and read it per serving. Per serving. 1 cup is one level measuring cup of whatever the food item is, and note how much sodium, how much of whatever is in that processed food, how many nitrates, how much of whatever chemical is there you are ingesting into your body. The more the more that we're ingesting into our bodies without the chemicals and things that do not benefit us, then the more than that is going to negatively affect our health. So we really want to be careful. Sodium, alcohol, gluten, and processed foods, very, very high indicators that if you have any underlying conditions such as heart fib, this is not something you want to indulge more into. Okay, you really, really don't. Processed foods, of course. Now this is something very, very interesting, rounding out some of the top reasons of things that you should be careful of in your diet. Sugar. Now that's another area where a lot of people bristled up a little bit, but that's okay. Sugar has been connected to not only high amounts of blood sugar, connecting with diabetes, but it also has affecting heart health. Sugar can be an irritability. High amounts of sugar can be irritability to the nerves. Okay, it can be high irritability to the nerves, and the nerves are involved in making the heart contract. Watching our sugar intake as much as possible is just as important as watching our carbohydrate intakes, which also break down into sugars, but also just as important as the sodium and the alcohol and the gluten and the processed foods. Again, reading the back of the label and finding out what is what, how much of a serving involves whatever it is you're taking into your body is the best thing to do. Again, making a plan and making some lifestyle changes. Instead of picking up this type of sugar, maybe pick up a more natural product such as what is found in your monk fruit and your pure cane, which we have talked about on different shows, different programs. And what about stevia or some of the other more natural sugar components? Try to incorporate that into your lifestyle to help with whatever you're doing with whatever you're eating. So you really do want to watch that. You really do want to watch that on a daily basis. Okay. All righty then. All right. So after we're talking about alcohol and sugar, processed foods and gluten, has your healthcare team also given you a concern regarding grapefruit? Of course, there might be a concern regarding grapefruit because of the medications. If you're already on atrial fibrillation, if you already have medications for atrial fibrillation, some other medications, grapefruit might be a fruit that you cannot indulge in. All right. And this is another reason why we want to incorporate more healthy items into our system so that we're not barred from anything that is good for us. There is a component within the grapefruit that alters the medications. And this is all the more reason why we want to get into more natural stages of health, more natural invite more natural means, and have more natural means of curing ourselves and helping ourselves along. So grapefruit, if you're told that grapefruit is no longer your friend, then if you're being told that, then of course Pay attention to what your healthcare provider is telling you, and then follow their direction, because they're only trying to help you. And as a lot of times there are medications that are contraindicated with some foods, so you want to get more of the right foods into your system so that the you won't have the medication problem with that. Alrighty. All right, so there are foods, of course, that are encouraged. Okay, there are the natural fruits, the natural vegetables. Try to stay away from the canned items because, of course, again, we're talking about sodium. We're talking about other preservatives, things that would irritate your heart and cause this incidence of atrial fibrillation. Now, of course, like I said, getting back to your healthcare team, those people who are assigned to your health, those people with whom you collaborate, your medical doctor, doctor of osteopathy, nurse practitioner, even your herbalist. Talk with them and let them know this is if you have been diagnosed, particularly with atrial fibrillation. You definitely want to get in touch with your healthcare team about your lifestyle, how you are living, how you're living. Now, what can you do? We're talking about food, mood, and activities. What are some of the moods that are associated with atrial fibrillation? Well, in men and women, when you're talking about food, mood, and activities in atrial fibrillation, you are talking about depression. There's a lot of incidents of depression, particularly in women, anxiety, particularly in women, stress, high psychological stress, particularly in women, as women are more subject to abuses in a variety of ways than men. Then, and you're also talking about other traumas. Again, women are at the forefront of this, and women are being diagnosed more and more and more with incidences of atrial fibrillation. Now, when you're talking about atrial fibrillation and the moods, of course, there's a lot of times because the nutrients of the body are not able to get to all parts because of the irregular, like you say, when atrial fibrillation, your heart is beating either too fast, too slow, or too irregularly. Then you're not able to get the nutrients out to your body, out to your lungs, or to the rest of your body. So you might have more incidences of depression or feeling tired. So if you're experiencing any of these things, you need to talk with your healthcare team. You really need to get in touch with your healthcare team and see if this is could be a part of what's going on with you. All right. All righty then. So what lifestyle changes can you take along with your healthcare team? I am sure that they would suggest more exercise. They would suggest more things that you can do to keep your heart healthy, keep your mood happy, and to get away from stressful incidences. Yeah, what you can do and talking things out, journaling, yoga, anything that you can do to get your negative space cleared. You really need to get away from everything that is negative in your life and pursue a more positive path, and that can help you decrease incidences of negative heart health, and in this case, atrial fibrillation. All righty. So again, we talked a lot today about atrial fibrillation and how we're in our heart health focus, how food, moods, and activities affect it. Of course, as I always say, get in touch with your healthcare team, your nurse practitioner, doctor of osteopathy, medical doctor, your herbalist, all those who are concerned about your health. They are here to help you. Any of the articles that I have cited, you can of course direct message me for information on these articles. So more information I will be posting in the group. Uh, but do get in touch with your healthcare providers if you're experiencing any of these symptoms that we discussed today. All right. Well, until next time on another edition of Eat What, we want you to focus on your health, focus on your heart, and Be as healthy as you can be. Clear out your negative space. Get away from those negative incidences, people, places, and things that would cloud your health, and live a more positive and productive life. Well, my name is Beverly Sherelle Johnson, registered nurse for over 33 years, and I will see you next time on another edition of Eat What. All right, bye bye.